One on and a ball hit toward the alley. That'll fall in. 2 runs will score on the play. Jalen Flores to the gap at left center. Drives home Campbell and Brown. Peyton swings to the first pitch, and that is through for a base hit. Thomas being waved to the plate. Here comes the throw, but it'll be cut off. RBI single Peyton Powell. Scoring Jared Thomas. It's 5-0 Texas. Whip ready. Here's the 2-ball, 2-strike pitch to Landon Wallace. Strike 3 called. Got him looking. What a way for Tanner Witt to close out this outing for him. 3 scoreless innings, and he gets a punch out to retire the side. 2-0 to Jalen Flores, and the 2-0. Swung on and the ball hit well, out toward left. This with carry, back to the warning track. You can say goodnight to it. Jalen Flores with the 3rd home run of his collegiate career extends the Texas lead to 6-0.
2-2. Scott swings and lifts it to shallow right center field. Backing up just barely on the outfield grass and dropping the ball is the second baseman Harper. Washington comes across. Popelka stays put on second. It's 7-2 Texas.
3 balls and 2 strikes to count. Here's the stretch from Staley. The payoff pitch to Hussey. Swing and a miss. He struck him out. A leadoff walk yielded to Landon Wallace, and then Travis Staley strikes out the side in the 6th.
2-2 pitch, lined in the gap left center field. That's down. Scoring is Popelka. Here comes Scott. Dayton rounding third. She will score. Texas leads 10-2.
Hurley, the stretch. The 1-1. Ground ball hit to third. They'll go to second for 1. Relay to first is in time. Game is over. The Texas Longhorns have come all the way back, needing a sweep. They get it. And the Texas Longhorns, with a share of the title, are Big 12 Conference regular season champions.
2 out, 2 on for Texas A&M. Simpson with the 1-2 offering, and it's swung on and missed. The Longhorns sweep their regional and will advance to the Super Regional for the 4th straight postseason.
Quite the weekend. Very, very full weekend for University of Texas. Baseball and softball, both winning titles. Of course, the Longhorn baseball team winning a share of the Big 12 Conference Championship and the number 1 seed in this week's Big 12 Conference Tournament. Texas softball winning the Austin Regional, and they're headed for Knoxville, Tennessee for the Super Regional. Good morning, everybody. Welcome to Light the Tower on the Horn, 104.9, 101.9, AM 1260. We're live, local, and digital on the Horn app and at hornfm.com. Hey, tip of the hat to our man, DEFCON Dave. Dave Williams came in the microphone, and anybody who was watching on Twitch probably saw this. The microphone here in the studio that I use actually came off its mooring. The screw fell out. Yes, as they said in Breakfast Club, it's an imperfect world. Screws fall out all the time. It came out and the whole housing came down. You got it back in order, so we're up and running on a Monday morning. My name is Craig Ray. Glad to have you, and always pleased to be joined by my co-host, the pride of Northwest Williamson County and a proud graduate of Florence High School. You know him best for his outstanding work at Horns 24/7. That's Jeff Howe.
I think I heard that on an episode of Viva La Bam back in the day where Bam and Deco and a couple of the other guys were messing with Phil and they took a screw out of his chair.
Oh, really?
That was one of those lines, yeah.
What is that show? I don't think I'm familiar with that one.
It was a spinoff of Jackass.
Okay, well, there you go.
It was a mess with Phil Day.
A spinoff of Jackass. Okay,
it was a great show. Bam had a day where it was Don't Feed Phil Day, where he instructed he was going to see if his dad could go. I think it was 24 hours, sun up to sundown without eating.
Woof. And
he instructed like all the restaurants his dad goes to. It's like, nope, we've got strict orders not to serve you food today. So
that's great. That I do kind of like. Also like our producer. He does an outstanding job, and he did there putting that mashup highlight montage of Longhorn baseball and softball. That would be Cameron Parker. Despite the disappointment from your personal perspective of the weekend with what happened with the baseball weekend for the Round Rock Dragons, I know you had a busy and full weekend, right?
Yeah, that on top of Brooks Koepka.
Oh, yeah. That kind of bothered
was tough.
you.
But seeing LeBron down 3-0 is great. Seeing Texas baseball sweep West Virginia was great. Seeing Texas softball beat A&M last night was great. So it's been a bittersweet weekend.
Okay.
Why do you dislike LeBron, Cam?
It's more so of his fans and the narrative around him.
Well, I'm a LeBron fan. Do you dislike me?
Well, it depends on, were you saying LeBron was the GOAT after he got swept by San Antonio in the first round?
No,
Okay,
there is
then we're
one.
good.
There is one basketball GOAT, and it is Michael Jeffrey Jordan. So
Then we're good.
okay,
We're good. If you're going back and pulling up highlight clips from a 1989 Bulls game and say LeBron played against janitors, then we're done. We're not having that conversation.
All right, I get all that. All right, and I'm not trying to start anything this morning because if somebody were to ask me who I thought the greatest player of all time was, my answer is going to be Michael Jordan. That said, I think LeBron James is a top 5 all-time NBA player. Would you agree with that?
I would say he's number 2.
Okay.
I love how my beloved Spurs fans, who I've grown so fond of,
And they of you.
they've already declared Victor Wembanyama better than Kevin Garnett. So we're off to a good start. Off to a good start on a Monday. Enjoy a good rib, folks. That's good stuff right there.
Our Specs text line always is open to you at 512-337-3776. That's 512-337-3776. Our man CB on the Specs text line said, I heard that Aggie fans were unruly at the game yesterday, and the Texas softball Twitter account just let the Aggies have it with the video they posted. It depends on what you mean by unruly, because yes, a lot of the camera shots. I watched the game while listening to Andrew Haynes. I had the call synced up, but I watched. A lot of the camera shots would show, very loud, boisterous Aggies, with horns down and all that kind of stuff. I don't think of that so much as unruly.
My Texas State brethren at the baseball game at the Dish earlier this year, that can be described appropriately as unruly.
Yeah. So,
that's what rivalries are about, Craig. You should be able to talk a little smack and jaw back and forth and poke the bear a little bit.
Yeah.
But when we cross the line and go to slashing tires and fights on the concourse, now
that's a different level.
Yes.
Yeah. So I don't know about the unruly. I know they were loud and boisterous as they invariably are, and that kind of stuff. I do think it's a little silly, but I understand it. The very faithful Aggie baseball fan thing of the ball 4, ball 5, ball 4, all makes perfect sense, certainly at home. But when you're on the road and you're down 10-2,
is that so they can all remember how to count properly? Just remind everybody.
I think that's a little far-fetched with the whole ball 4. And by the way, and they weren't consecutive either. At the time I was thinking, I heard Alex Loeb mention that as well. He said he goes, that's best executed when the balls are consecutive. That was broken up by a couple of strikes, but that's okay. Hey, it's fans being fans. As long as you're not.
As long as Austin's Finest doesn't have to get involved.
Yeah,
just enjoy yourself.
So that's okay.
And don't be a Richard. And, keep it. Just cheer on your team and poke the bear a little bit.
So
have a Coke Zero and a smile, and we'll all leave happy.
I get all that. So the things that will. There's somebody that texted, and the one and only great Tope Amade said he sat right behind this one lady. He said hella disrespectful to event staff. See, now that would not be good if that were the case. The booing and the putting the horns down, that's part of fandom on that. But if you're making it difficult, in terms of other people's enjoyment of the game, that's a different issue. But anyway, it doesn't matter now. So there was, they move on from there.
Grab your seat cushion. Pretend you're Macho Man Randy Savage hitting someone in the head with a steel chair.
Ow. Okay.
Let's get into it that much.
Okay. Here's what we have coming up. We're going to hear after the
They don't make those seat cushions anymore. It's like that hard foam. You know, it's not like the cushy ones. It's like the hard foam that you'd see at a football game that's got all the sponsors on it.
Yeah. Now it's the softer seat
You ever
cushions.
hit somebody in the head with one of those things?
That can't feel good.
No, me and my brother used to have fights with those. When you're kids and you don't have boxing gloves, you got to kind of make do with whatever you got. You grab a couple of seat cushions.
Yeah. Right.
Just start wailing away on each other.
Right. Coming up here, after the Longhorn victory on Saturday to win the series, to sweep West Virginia and claim that share of the Big 12 title, Roger Wallace was a very busy man down on the field. I think he visited with...
Dude, Roger was down there. I was already done with my post game.
Mm-hmm.
And
he was still working it.
Roger was still doing stuff.
He talked to, put it this way, every field position was represented. I think he couldn't find Jalen Flores, who'd gone in, so he did visit with Mitchell Daly. So that checked off the shortstop box. But he talked to Peyton Powell, and he talked to Jack O'Dowd, and he talked to Jared Thomas, and he talked to Garrett Gilmette, all three outfielders, Eric Kennedy, Dylan Campbell, Porter Brown, Lucas Gordon, and Tanner Witt, and, of course, David Pierce. So we're going to hear some of those conversations. I mean, there's too many to play them all, but we're going to hear some of those conversations, a few this hour, a few next hour. We're going to hear at the bottom of the hour, and do you have a standalone Longhorn notebook other than when we visit with Coach Fields here at the bottom of the hour?
No.
Okay. That's our Longhorn notebook. Coach John Fields will join us as Texas men's golf gets ready to play in the NCAA championships at Greyhawk out in Scottsdale. The Texas women's golf team, by the way, is tied for second going into today's final round when they revert to stroke play today. So, but we'll visit with John Fields to talk about Longhorn men's golf coming up here at the bottom of the hour. We do have Inconceivable and a couple of really interesting items from the weekend. And like I said, some in each hour of some hearing from Longhorn baseball players. We'll do that. Jeff and I will kind of get into the deal about where are they in terms of the national perspective with regard to seeding and regional and all that other kind of stuff. We'll get to all of that. We'll do all of that. There's pro golf. Yes, it definitely made Cam unhappy to see Brooks Koepka, a member of that Live Tour, win the PGA Championship, his third PGA title and his fifth major championship.
Yeah,
pretty impressive the way he did it too.
Yeah, I mean you have to respect him. It's the same thing with LeBron. You have to respect, and especially with all the injuries and his appearance in the Full Swing documentary, where he was open about I don't know how I'll be able to compete against the John Rahms and Scotty Schefflers again, and he almost did it against Rahm at the Masters a few weeks ago. Came up short on Sunday, Craig, but then he did not come up short yesterday. That's for sure.
Yeah. Cam, I have a golf question. My wife asked me this yesterday while I'm watching the final round, and I'll be honest, I didn't have a good answer, and I got distracted and didn't even go to the Google machine. Is the tee box, where everybody's got the divot from teeing off, do they not replace divots or anything on the tee box? It's just a cluster until post round when they can clean it up?
They change where they tee off from every day.
Okay.
So because they have like 4 different tee boxes there depending on the location and stuff, and so they move it around. So and they'll replace the divots as well, but the tee box would be different from Saturday to Sunday. So that's why it's not all jacked up.
That makes sense.
Yeah.
It's not like I
didn't have a good. It's one of those things like you watch enough golf, and I'm like, it's one of those things that's so simple, very rudimentary. I'm like, you know what? I never stopped to think about that.
Yeah, that's good. It's a good thought there. Nice attempt to consider that.
It's just like in baseball, Craig. I always wonder, like, okay, when an umpire goes to a new ball, does he have to go if it's just a requested ball? Does he make the call on when to get a new ball? How many balls are there? How many balls do they go through in a game? It's just weird stuff like that I think about every now and then.
Yeah, a lot of them, especially they get fouled off, and some they'll take out of play and things of that nature. It's a good point.
And when do you decide to take a ball out of play?
I think it's usually either at an umpire or at a pitcher's request if something is not right with it. So I think that's a big part of it. Okay.
It's a little food for thought.
Yeah, absolutely. And while you chew on that, you can also, here's a little more food for thought. Garrett Gilmette, Longhorn catcher, the USC transfer. One thing you like about a California guy is that he starts a lot of his answers with the words, "Hey, man." They're California.
I'm amazed at how well kids from Southern California and Arizona fit in this athletic program period. They all say like Austin is, when they go on visits, so Austin's pretty close to home, whether they're from that Phoenix area or LA or wherever. It's crazy how there's some weird synergy going on there.
Well, here's the synergy with Garrett Gilmet visiting with Roger Wallace after the game on Saturday in the Texas victory.
What does this feel like coming from USC and being part of this?
Yeah, man. My first 2 years of college, we never played in any tournament or anything, so I had a pretty early summer. And having the opportunity to compete for a Big 12 championship, and not only like the easy way, we had to do it the hard way. And, the guys just grinded out, and the pitchers did it so well. And I'm just so excited. I'm at like a lost verge right now, man. I don't know how to explain it.
This weekend, you knew what was in front of you. You know how hard it is to sweep and to do it. What does it say about this team?
Hey, man. I'm telling you, for that San Jose State Friday game when we lost that one, there was something that just didn't sit well with us. So we come into the field with an edge, and we're just a bunch of ballers and just hardworking kids. And at the end of the day, the toughest team works, and the team that competes all 9 inning wins. And I think we did that all 27.
Those 27 outs are tough. The last 9 were real tough. Tell me from your perspective, guys were scuffing a little bit. The moment was big. What did you see from your guys?
From the pitching aspect, some things got a little shaky, but they did a very good job just controlling the strike zone again and pounding it. Travis did a good job, gave up a homer, I think, then he just filled it up, zone up right away, and Big Red did well, and Charlie, it was just a great all-around team performance today, man.
Your reaction when you got that RBI in the bottom of the 8th, just a little more separation, how big was that for you?
Yeah, man, it was a rough weekend for me, but that was, I've never really gotten someone intentionally walked to get to me before, so it meant a little more. It put a little chip on my shoulder, and I was just happy to get that extra insurance run.
And to do it here in front of this crowd, you're a one-year guy, but they'll remember you for a long time.
Yes, sir, man. That's the goal. And I love it here, and I love the Longhorns. I love Austin.
Yeah, to Jeff's point about California guy, loving Austin, loving being here. It's good to hear his perspective on it. All right, it's one thing to be a California transplant. It's another thing to be a fifth-year senior, even if you're originally from Tampa, Florida. But Eric Kennedy, fifth-year senior, his final home game, at least of the regular season anyway.
Played a lot of baseball here. What was it like to hoist that trophy?
It was awesome, man. Those are the kind of moments you live for. I knew early in conference, it didn't look like we were going to be able to do that, but so proud of this group for battling back. And we knew what we had to do this weekend. We had to take all 3 to get a little help, and that's exactly what we did. And that just makes it mean a little bit more.
You go to TCU knowing you've got back-to-back road series. You take care of the goal is to win series. You win those 2 back-to-back. You have to sweep. What was the mindset going in? How proud are you of this team to be able to pull it off?
Yeah, I'm super proud. We knew we had to play with that chip on our shoulder. We came out past 2 weekends, didn't play our best the first game, so we wanted to come out like those second 2 games at San Jose State with that chip on our shoulder, and that's exactly what we did. We were able to pound out a lot of runs. Our pitching picked us up, and I'm just so proud of these guys. We battled through a lot of adversity, even through this series. So just picking each other up, and it's just so awesome to see.
How important was it to get off to those quick starts in each of these 3 games?
Yeah, for sure. I think it helps us not only offensively but defensively. It helps us get some momentum offensively, just get some runs, get some flow going, and then pitching-wise, they can just fill up the zone, let our defense work, and I think that's what we did that to a T this weekend. It was awesome to see.
If this was your last game in this stadium, can you reflect on what your time here has meant playing in home? I know you got a lot of baseball left this season.
Oh, man, it's been awesome. I was getting a little teary-eyed during the senior day earlier today. This place meant so much to me. It's given so much to me, and I'm so blessed to have been able to put on the uniform these 5 years and put out in front of these great crowds. And the fact that we were able to get it done and win the conference today just makes it that much better.
Okay, so now you've heard from a native of California and a native of Florida. We'll go one more outside the state of Texas native, and that's Jack O'Dowd. But, of course, he has Longhorn lineage. But Jack, of course, grew up in Nashville and started off at Vanderbilt before he transferred in. And the guy just solidified things at second base throughout the course of the season.
Jack, what's this moment feel like? Sweeping is so difficult, but a trophy on the line, what's it mean to this club?
Oh, it's so awesome. Coming into the weekend, we were super locked in. We were super focused. We wanted this. We knew what was ahead of us, and we knew we could go take it, and that's what we did, so it was great.
And from the start in each of the 3 games, how big was that, and how much does that say for the way you were ready to play?
Yeah, those starts are huge. Just to jump on them like that, put the pressure on them early, that was part of our game plan. plan, and we just went out and executed every day. And, it was great just to jump out early and really put the pressure on them, put them on their heels.
I think of that bat by Weatherholt, and you guys, so much goes into baseball and preparation, and you've got Jalen right behind the second base. That's a part of the game sometimes we miss, but how big was that?
That was a huge play. Jalen did a great job, stepping in here this weekend. He had a great game today, and that was a game-changing play right there. He was in the perfect position. Shout out to our coaches for the scouting report there, and then Jalen, did what he needed to do and made a great throw and changed the complexion of that game right there.
You make the move from Vanderbilt last year. You had to, take your spots when you got him this year. You're one of the guys. How satisfying is it for you to stick with it and now have a trophy with that you're part of?
It's great. It's really rewarding. We got a great group of guys. I'm super close with them, and just to be able to win this with them after what we've been through this year, all the hard work we put in is great, and I'm super blessed to have this opportunity.
So there's three guys that you've heard from. We'll hear from some more next hour, as well as from David Pierce next hour, but you could hear them all talk about how good they felt about things and the unique experience. Next hour, you're going to hear from some of the guys talking about some of the motivation they got for making that stretch drive. Before we get to the break, quick question. Somebody said, this is obviously a Texas fan, and the quote is, why are we, meaning Texas, sharing the Big 12 trophy if Texas is seeded number one?
Does it matter? Does it matter?
Well,
they all finished with identical records.
Yeah.
And to determine seeding, you had to go to a tiebreaker.
Yeah. Here's the difference. Here's the thing. Here's the point of clarification that some folks may not fully understand or have heard that much. There's a difference between the regular season and the postseason tournament. And this applies to just about all of the team sports that have a postseason event other than football. And I get to football in a minute. Basketball, baseball, softball, tennis, those are the tournaments that have most or all of the teams participate. In the Big 12, 8 of the 9 play. The last place finisher does not get invited, does not get to play in the conference tournament. In this case, this year it'd be Baylor. First time ever Baylor will miss the conference tournament since the inception of the Big 12.
Seriously?
First time ever.
Wow.
They're the only school in the Big 12 that had never missed the Big 12 tournament.
Because they've had some down years, but man, I
never
would have
missed
thought
it.
On a fluke one year they would have missed it.
Yeah, and that includes 97 and 98, Jeff, when only 6 teams made it. So first time ever for Baylor not to make the Big 12 tournament. So that's separate. It's a postseason tournament. There's a separate trophy for it. The regular season championship ended on Saturday. And as Jeff mentioned, when the smoke cleared, there were 3 teams that had identical 15-9 records: Texas, West Virginia, and Oklahoma State. So they're all called champions. They all get trophies. It isn't an everybody gets a trophy society, but 3 fought for it and 3 tied for the championship. It's happened in virtually every league. It's happened in the SEC. It's happened in the ACC. It's the first time it's ever happened in the Big 12. So they all 3 tied for the conference title. They are all 3 declared conference champions. All 3 get trophies. Now, for the postseason tournament, they go to the tiebreak. First tiebreak is, how did they do against one another? Well, they all split. Texas lost to Oklahoma State, beat West Virginia. Oklahoma State lost to West Virginia, beat Texas. West Virginia beat Oklahoma State, lost to Texas. So all that's even. The second tiebreak is, how did you do in the round-robin 6 games you played against the other 2? That's where the difference is. The sweep for Texas took them to 4-2 against the other 2 teams. Oklahoma State, by virtue of a 2-1 series win and a 2-1 series loss, was 3-3. And West Virginia, 2-1 against Oklahoma State, but 0-3 against Texas. They wound up 2-4. That's why Texas is seeded number 1. That's why Oklahoma State is seeded number 2. And that's why West Virginia is seeded number 3. That's why. Football is different. And I got into a discussion with this, and that texting with my brother.
Let me answer this text, too. Texas did not win their series against Oklahoma State and West Virginia. They lost the series in Stillwater.
Yeah, they lost. They lost on Sunday afternoon. They won Friday behind Lucas Gordon. They lost Saturday when Jerron Watts-Brown pitched really well. They lost on Sunday. I was there.
They all
Take
beat.
my word
They
for
all
it. They
all
lost.
three of the teams. They all beat each other.
Yeah, they all.
That's why they had to go to a tiebreaker.
They did not win the series against Oklahoma State. They lost that series. In football, it's not done the same way. And I got into a detailed discussion by text with my brother, who lives in Fort Worth and roots for all things purple. So he was saying, about conference championships. He said, "Well, TCU won the regular season." I said, "No, they didn't." He said, "Yeah, they did." And I said, "No, they don't break it up like that. There's no postseason tournament." So you play the schedule, and at the end of your schedule, the top two finishers play for the Big 12 championship. He didn't want to believe me. And I said, "I'll tell you what, I'm going to be in Arlington all next week. You live 5 minutes from the TCU campus. I'll meet you at Schollmeyer Arena where they have all the trophies. If you find a Big 12 regular season football championship trophy for TCU, I'll take you to Del Frisco's in downtown Fort Worth and buy you a steak dinner." I said, it doesn't exist. No. They don't do regular season. But Big 12 championship, you go through the regular season, top two finishers play.
Back when they had divisions.
That was different. You could say North Division or South Division, but not regular season.
No.
So it's never been like that. But anyway, that's the difference with baseball and basketball, as opposed to football and the other sports, where they have a conference tournament where most or all of the conference teams participate.
This came up during basketball season because we had an availability late in the year, and somebody asked Rodney Terry. They said, our team hasn't won a conference championship since '99, and RT said, I've got 2 Big 12 championship rings at home. So we won it, we have one too. They shared 2 with Kansas in 06 and 08 in the regular season.
Yep.
They shared it. And Kansas counts that towards their streak, and they should. But
they should.
If you look at the Big 12 records, it lists both as conference coach champions in the regular season.
And it'll be listed in the Big 12 as all 3 won conference championships in baseball. And it should. They all finished with the same record. So that's how it is. Seeding for the tournament is different. That's a postseason conference tournament. So hopefully that clarifies some things there for that. The Longhorns will play scheduled 12:30 on Wednesday against Kansas. They're in the Big 12 tournament. I say scheduled. The 9 a.m. game and the wake your day up with a lot of purple, TCU and K-State, will be the first game. So the game is scheduled for 12:30. Unless the first game runs long, it'd be at 12:30. Keith Moore will join me on Wednesday for the first game. Roger Wallace will be with me on Thursday for the second game as Keith shifts to some television duties, and then we'll see how the rest of the weekend develops. All right. Coming up, we're going to visit with John Fields, Texas golf coach. We'll do that when we continue with Light the Tower on the Horn, 104.9, 101.9, AM 1260, live, local, and digital on the Horn app and at hornfm.com. Hey, as you get ready for the college baseball postseason or watching Major League Baseball well underway, NBA Finals matchup is about to be set. It's about to be Denver and Miami, NHL Stanley Cup playoffs, whatever it might be. Make sure you're happy with your home entertainment viewing experience. And it might not just be sports, whether you're watching things through streaming sources or you're just watching entertainment of various types. If you're not completely satisfied with your home entertainment system setup, then be in touch with our good friend Tom McKay in Audiovisual Consultations. Tom and his staff have the equipment, the knowledge, the expertise, and the vision to help you work within your vision and also within your budget, because he's not raising prices like everybody else. Check him out on the web at avconsultations.com. Give Tom and his staff a call at 512-255-8678. Let Tom McKay in Audiovisual Consultations help you realize the home entertainment system of your dreams. Okay. Now, this is a Doobie Brothers song. It keeps you running. But you hear the verse. My youngest son said it sounds like the start of a video game.
This thing got 8-bit return music.
2 players, 4 players. Novice level, pro level. He's reminded of like some old Nintendo games, you know. Expert course or junior course?
Do you ever have to ban anybody from the Nintendo, Craig, for hitting the reset button?
Yes. The aforementioned Jason Way. Andy might have done it out of frustration one year, but get mad and hit the reset or turn on. What are you doing? You know, I didn't do it when he did it for himself. I did it when I was playing against him, and he would get mad. You know, so I was like, you don't do that. So anyway, all right. I want to get to a couple of things here on the Specs text line because folks are asking questions with regard to a Longhorn baseball team. Our good friend, your man that you finally got a chance to cross paths with, Belton Gringo, says,
good dude.
Dylan Campbell 2 games away from tying Oklahoma State's Ty Martin's Big 12 hit streak record of 35 games in 2007. That's correct. Now, you know, DC would have to go away to catch Robin Ventura's record of 58. And that's not going to happen since, you know, there won't be enough
DC
games
ain't got enough games left.
Exactly. But he is on a roll, and it's now, I think, 39 in a row, reaching base safely, the streak is.
So I guess we can't count on him catching Mark Payton either, can we?
No. That's 104, and that's the NCAA record there.
No, that record got broken earlier this year.
Oh, we did?
Yeah, I forgot who broke it.
I have to look that up.
Machine. Yeah.
Wow, congratulations. Okay. Somebody said, didn't Aggie claim some Big 12 championships after winning the South Division but losing the championship game? I don't remember that. I know they obviously won the South.
Yeah, there was some kind of weird deal on the facade before they made the SEC move. I think it said Big 12 champions, and it just had the year they won divisions. It might have had asterisks next to it.
For South Division, okay.
I remember something like
Brian
that.
Ellis from Florida Gulf Coast set the record.
Thank you, Ken.
There we go. FGCU. How many games now for Brian Ellis?
It was 102. Let me see where it finished at.
Yeah, because the record's 104. But
but when the record was set, it was disputed, so it was a cluster.
It says unofficial on base record.
Yeah.
At how many?
Still 102.
Well, 104 is the record.
I know Mark Payton had 104, but somebody was disputing. I guess somebody in the NCAA.
117? Okay.
Well, yes, because when it was disputed if Payton got to 104, because there was a big cluster when that whole deal was happening. So,
well, J.D. Hamilton and the NCAA told me they were putting it in the books at 104.
Okay.
No matter who wanted to dispute
but
it. They were going in, but it doesn't matter now.
Doesn't matter now, yeah.
Yeah. So there you go. The name of that new Doobie Brothers song was It Keeps You Running. That's the deal. They were thinking about that because the Longhorns ran the table over the weekend to do that. Somebody said they tied 1 year, either OU and OSU put up a Big 12 South plaque. Well, if you tied for the deal.
It would have been 2010.
Yeah. Actually, might have been a 3-way tie. Oklahoma went to the championship game. Okay. If you tie for the division, it's legitimate to say
yes. Oklahoma, Oklahoma State, and Texas A&M all had 6-2 conference records.
Okay, there's nothing outside the lines of that. If you get a trophy for being South Division champions, even in a year where you don't go to the championship game.
Aggies lost to Oklahoma State, beat Oklahoma.
Yeah. So anyway, so there's some of that. CB says Texas number 13 in the new Baseball America poll. Back in the rankings, we figured there would be that would be the case. He says Big 12, the one true champion or whatever. Again, that applies to football. It applies to football where they don't have a championship postseason
that would be
tournament.
The Bob Bowlesby marketing department.
Yeah.
That one true champion bit.
The desk from which 1,000 indecisions have been launched.
Texas number 20 in the D1Baseball.com top 25.
So back into that. And if I remember correctly, if I do remember correctly on that, Jeff, our friend Kendall Rogers and D1 Baseball are going to do updated regional projections today. Somebody just asked
tomorrow.
Well, I thought he tweeted that it was coming Monday.
Let me check Kendall's Twitter.
Somebody just sent in on the Specs text line, we need some bracketological prognostications. And I said, if we get some of those, we will do that. Meanwhile, it is time now for our Longhorn Notebook. Along with Jeff Howe, I'm Craig Way. We're very pleased to have join us on the Vaqueros Cafe and Cantina hotline the head coach of Texas men's golf as they get ready for the NCAA championships out of Greyhawk in Scottsdale, Arizona, is John Fields, who joins us right now. John, I appreciate the time. How are you today?
Oh, I'm fantastic, and thank you for having me on, Craig. I'm thrilled to be going back to Greyhawk.
Yeah, and it's first of all, 16 consecutive trips to the national tournament. I think it's a statement about your leadership. I think it's a statement about the young men who have played. I think it's a statement about the culture of this program. But what does it mean to you to see this now come to fruition? 16 consecutive, and by the way, 71st all-time NCAA championship appearance.
Yeah, when DeLoss hired me in 1997. I knew that I was getting the keys to a Mercedes-Benz or, just some extraordinary program. And it was a little bit down at the time, but the opportunity to have success here, and then with the build of the UT Golf Club, those two things in combination gave us an opportunity to grow the program exponentially. And it's always been a great program, no question. There's been 5 coaches, Craig, at Texas. There was Tom Penick for 4 years, Harvey Penick for 30-plus years, George Hannon for 17 years, Jimmy Clayton for 16, and myself now for 26. So it's a great program with a lot of great players and a huge identity, but also a lot of pressure that comes with that to be the type of team that would have a chance to win national championships. And so we're that program. It's a daily grind and it's a constant build, but man, what a great place to be, Texas golf.
Well, John, you've kind of handled all of that, the pressure and responsibility goes there with a lot of grace and aplomb and all that stuff. Plus, by the way, you've won 2 national titles, and here you are as a defending national champion. Is there a little bit, I'm not going to say pressure, but the expectation and responsibility that goes along with carrying that defending national champion mantra with you out to Scottsdale with the group?
I feel like we dealt with that all year long, with the culmination being at the regional, because if you don't get through the regional, you can't get to the national championship. So the regional was pressure-packed for our young guys. There's one guy on our team right now, Mason Nome, that played in the national championship last year. There's 3 freshmen that have pushed their way into the lineup, and then 1 graduate transfer in Brian Stark, who has just done a great job for us. So it's a new team. There's some experience there. Brian Stark was played in the national championship last year. So did Mason Nome. So we've got energy, enthusiasm, and some experience going into the tournament.
Well, and that was right where I was going next, John, was to ask you about the fact that you have so many who have made major contributions. Christian Moss in the runner-up finish at the Southern Highlands, and Tommy Morrison tied for 8th at the regional last week. You mentioned Mason Nome, Jacob Sosa to talk about a youngster with a 3rd place showing at the Southwestern. You mentioned Brian Stark, Keaton Vo. It's the sum of the parts, isn't it, John? I mean, isn't that how this group has been able to fashion this run?
It absolutely is, and where there's pain, there's also growth, and these guys have experienced all that this year. I'll tell you what, Craig, to be part of the Texas athletic program right now, the success of all of our sports and all of our coaches, with the leadership of Chris Del Conte, it's unbelievable what's happening right now. And the coolest thing about it is that everybody's pulling for everybody. Like our women's golf team is poised to go into the Elite 8 tomorrow. They need a good round today, but they're in 2nd place going to the final round, which will be on the Golf Channel this afternoon. It's just infectious, and Chris Del Conte has done a magnificent job of hiring great coaches, but not only that, creating an environment where we can all pull for each other.
Visiting with John Fields, Texas golf coach, men's golf coach here on Light the Tower on the Horn. John, I want to ask you about Greyhawk and the challenges that it presents for your guys and the familiarity that some of your guys might have.
Well, the fact is it's a desert golf course, and we'll deal with the heat there at Greyhawk in Scottsdale, Arizona. The morning round to the afternoon round is significantly different. Usually in the afternoon, you've got a little bit more wind and you've got a little bit more heat. So the ball is affected in flight. Ball goes a lot further in the afternoon than it does in the morning. Usually the golf course is tuned up for us. So it's firm and fast greens, firm fairways. They've made that a championship golf course. I think 28 over made it into the Elite 8 2 years ago, and last year over 30 over par made it into the Elite 8, which means you've got the best teams there, and yet they're being challenged in a significant way, and I love it. I think it's great for us and for our teams to be challenged that way, and then hopefully what happens is your schedule during the year helps you get through that and maybe have some success.
John, is there I don't know if advantage is the proper phraseology. Does it set up better for the teams and in specific your team for match play or stroke once you advance beyond match to stroke, or does it matter?
Well, once you get to match play, I do think that hopefully you've done some soul searching and figured out who's going to do well in match play on your team and given yourself an opportunity to match those pairings up. And we've done that. It's President's Cup pairing, so the team with the lower 72-hole medal play average or strokes, that's the team that gets to pick first. And you can either defer or you can pick, and then you start putting your players out there. And so what that does is it gives you an opportunity to kind of be in control if you do a good job, because their players and your players, and you might have an advantage there. And we've been in match play enough times. We've won 2 national championships and been 2 other finals that didn't go our way. And so I feel like we've got quite a bit of experience, and I'm looking forward to it, and I'm kind of visioning that we'll have that opportunity again this year.
It is 4 rounds of stroke play, 18 holes each day, Friday through Monday, and then the low 15 teams advance to Monday's final round of stroke play, and the low 8 teams advance to match play, the match play quarterfinals and semifinals the following Tuesday, and the match play championship on Wednesday at Greyhawk in Scottsdale. John, it's always great to visit with you. Appreciate the time. We wish you the best of luck, and hope we're talking about back-to-back national championships. Thanks so much for taking the time.
Thank you, Craig, and thanks for what you do for collegiate sports and especially the Longhorns. Hook 'em horns.
Hook 'em. Thank you, John. That's John Fields, Texas men's golf coach. Yeah, and they begin play coming this Friday in Scottsdale. And as he pointed out, and we mentioned earlier, Texas women are now to stroke play as they play today at Greyhawk in Scottsdale. So they're in the stroke play for the final round of stroke play, and then the low 8 teams advance to the match play, then the match play quarterfinals and semifinals. So we'll hope for the best for both of the Texas golf teams. Up next, we have Inconceivable with Light the Tower on the Horn, 104.9, 101.9 AM 1260. We're live, local, and digital on the Horn app and at hornfm.com. Here we are in the warmer months. Have you noticed it's starting to heat up a little more, and it's starting to get quite a bit warmer? Hey, our friends John Hardy and his great staff at Divided Sky Roofing and Solar do great roofs. We've been talking about that. They've been doing it for a long time, but they're also a full-service solar company. And as we transition into our hottest season, and that's when the higher power bills start arriving, why not be prepared and save money this summer with a new Timberline solar shingle roof. Or maybe you already have a solar system, but you don't have a backup battery. Well, then you'd be wasting money, because with a backup battery, you're able to use all of the power you make instead of giving it back to the power company. The batteries are now covered by the Inflation Reduction Act, so you get that tax credit as well, and we can all certainly use that. Well, John and his staff are all solar experts. They can repair and service your existing solar system. The other roofers that you hear about that talk about solar, they're just selling you a solar roof. Divided Sky Roofing and Solar can repair and service your existing solar system. Really, these guys are a true resource. They can help extend the life of your system. They're all master electricians. The entire staff is NABCET certified. That's the solar version of the master plumber. Trust your roofing and solar needs to our friends, the experts at Divided Sky Roofing and Solar. It's 512-995-ROOF. It's TEC license number 37397. You can check them out on the web at dividedskyaustin.com. Well, here's what it means here on a Monday.
Before you get to that, can I ask the listening audience a question? And I just need, a number on the Specs text line, 337-3776. When you use the phrase blank number pounds, certain pounds of S in a 10-pound bag, what's the requisite number? Because I've heard 8, I've heard 5.
Let me tell you.
It's somewhere between.
I'll tell you what. I'll take you back to the year 1951.
Okay.
My dad was in the Army, and he saw a big guy picking on a little guy.
Mm-hmm.
And my dad was never one. He was kind of quiet a lot. He didn't engage, but he would defend the underdog.
There you go.
And I said this as part of his eulogy at his funeral back in 1991, that he went up and he said, "Hey, why don't you leave the guy alone?" And he looked at my dad, "What's it to you, Red?" He goes, well, just leave the guy. He goes, "What's your name?" And he goes, "And do you know my name?" And he goes, "Well, my name's Charles Way. I know you're a blivet." And he said, "What's a blivet?" And he said, 10 pounds of bleep in a 5-pound bag. And
there you
go.
He
hit him right in the nose.
So, 5 was the first number that came
And the
up,
word for that is blivet.
Blivet.
Yeah. So it's 10 pounds of bleep in a 5-pound bag. Yeah. And my dad did not use the word bleep.
Mystery has been solved.
Yeah. So when you think about it, it's kind of twice the amount. Yeah, I guess it probably makes some of the. Speaking of tough guys or guys that did stuff, how about this? In Georgia.
Were you talking Georgia the state or Georgia the country?
The state.
Okay.
An inmate tunneled through a wall in a jail facility in Fulton County. That's Atlanta.
Yeah.
You know? But he didn't tunnel through the wall.
Andy Dufresne style?
Yeah, he did not tunnel through the wall to escape. He tunneled through the wall.
Speaking of excrement.
Yeah, he tunneled through the wall to beat up the guy in the next cell. Kavian Thomas allegedly dug a hole through a wall in a shower stall at the Rice Street Jail. There it is right there.
That's, man.
That looks kind of Escape from Alcatraz style there when you look at that deal, when he dug that hole in there. And he did it, which granted him access to an adjacent cell block. He then launched an attack on DeAndre Russell, another inmate, Fulton County Sheriff's Office. What's that?
Lakers guard?
No, this is DeAndre Russell.
Oh, okay.
Not D'Angelo.
Okay.
All right. Thomas stabbed Russell multiple times once he successfully entered the cell. Russell sustained superficial stab wounds. That's kind of a contradiction, or that's kind of a what do you say? That's Department of Redundancy Department, or are you to say superficial stab wounds?
Yeah.
Is any stab wound? I guess there's varying degrees of it.
Do you get stabbed? You get stabbed.
Yeah. Yeah,
that's kind of that's kind of a blanket deal for me.
Yeah, and got treated in the medical facility. After the incident, the officers checked both cells and were, I said, how did that guy get in here? And he discovered several weapons in both cells made from parts of the dilapidated building infrastructure.
That'll do it.
The interim Fulton County jail commander, Curtis Clark, said in the release, quote, "This jail has clearly outlived its useful life." Everybody nods in agreement and said, yeah, probably has. Kind of like how Alcatraz was toward the end,
that wouldn't happen in the Cobb County jail because the big boss man would regulate.
And Cobb is the neighboring county to it, Hey, a little concerned about you that if you go down this road. First of all, do you like waffles?
I love waffles.
Do you really? How about you, Cam? You on board with waffles?
I had 2 waffles this weekend, actually.
Did you really?
Yeah.
Yeah, okay.
You guys ever seen The Lady Killers, that Coen Brothers movie?
I haven't seen it.
Tom Hanks is like a Southern gentleman that's leading a group of bank robbers.
Oh, yeah?
It's a one-liner. I don't know why it cracks me up, but they're sitting in a Waffle House type place, and he just stops the waitress and he goes, "Madam, we must have waffles." But he does it like in like a Colonel Sanders Southern voice. I don't know, it cracks me up. Tom Hanks was very underrated in that movie.
Yeah.
J.K. Simmons plays a guy that his expertise is explosives, but he suffers from IBS.
Ooh.
Speaking of explosives.
Yeah. That would be different. Well, the reason why I brought this up, first of all, do each of you own or have in your homes waffle makers?
Man, I don't. I think I do actually. Yeah. I think
really?
The wife bought one. Yeah.
Really?
I don't.
You don't have one? Check and make sure that your waffle maker is not a Power XL stuffed waffleizer. Okay?
No, I'm sure if my wife bought something called the waffle. Well, if she bought something called the waffleizer, she wouldn't tell me because she knows I'd run that into the ground.
Oh, really? Okay. The waffleizer. Well, Empower Brands, the company made it, is recalling 456,000 waffleizers. You ever heard of a waffle maker recall?
How many?
456,000 of them are being recalled. Why, you ask? Well, there's a potential burning hazard involved with it. The company has received 44 reports of the product posing a burn risk, including 34 burn injuries and 3 people requiring medical attention. And they say, well, don't touch the waffle iron if it's hot, right? It's a little more about that. According to the group, hot pieces of the waffle or the stuffing can be expelled suddenly from the waffle maker during use or upon opening. So imagine open that thing and it just projectiles all over you. Hot waffle goo on you.
You know, Rod Babers has never eaten at a Waffle House.
He's never had vanilla ice cream, Jeff. He's never had vanilla ice cream.
Rod doesn't like white condiments, so that's understandable.
But that's not condiment. Ice cream is a dessert.
That's white things, okay, but in that it's in the white realm of
Drinks
food
milk,
items.
doesn't he?
But like Rod's never eaten at the Waffle House. I'm like, and
Yeah.
it kind of makes sense because back in his college days, like there's no Waffle House around here.
Right. Now there's 3.
That was a revelation on the Longhorn Blitz podcast last week. Rod B has never eaten at a Waffle House.
I have to take him in there sometime. If you purchase your Waffleizer at Walmart, Kohl's, Big Lots, BJ's Wholesale Club, Best Buy, Home Depot, Target, Sam's Club, and other stores, online stores including QVC, these waffle makers were sold from July 2021 through October 2022.
QVC still around?
It was in 2021, 2022. The Waffleizer, the Power XL, it's like the, what was it? Kramer with the something 4000, the shower head that he used to wash circus elephants.
Hey Cam, was it Jeff Burton or Jeff Bodine? Didn't one of them drive a NASCAR car sponsored by QVC?
I think so, yes.
Yeah, I think you're right. Okay, got one more here, and this contribution comes from my beautiful wife because she makes a really good.
Jeff Bodine drove the
there you
QVC car. Yes,
Linda makes
Number
a really
7.
good spaghetti bolognese. You like the bolognese with the meat sauce like that?
What
Spaghetti bolognese?
What is bolognese?
That's like a meat sauce.
Oh, okay, yeah.
Okay.
I gotta fancy it up. Just call it meat sauce.
Okay, because it comes from Bologna, Italy.
Okay,
is where it began. Okay. This actually happened. It's what's called a TikTok influencer. You always loving that. On a podcast, she was. Her name was Paula Gonu. She is a 30-year-old Spanish content creator with 2 million followers on Instagram.
Man.
And she cooks, but she had to have knee surgery. She had part of her knee cartilage, the meniscus, removed during the surgery. And the doctor says, you get when if you get someone say, hey, would you like to have your knee cartilage? She said, yeah. So then she took it, put it in alcohol so it could stay that way. She and her partner were joking around about it, said, hey, how about that? It looks like a piece of pasta.
No.
Oh, yeah.
No.
Oh, yeah.
No.
Oh, yeah. She put it in the pasta bolognese, spaghetti bolognese that she and her boyfriend shared. She said, I wanted to put it back into my body.
Oh, gosh.
So
it's going to leave your body at some point.
Yeah, that's what I said to Linda. She said they were joking around. I told them I wanted to eat it because it was part of me, and I had to put it back into my body. Then I made a bolognese and put it in, and we ate it. She said, people eat the bones, cartilage, and other parts of worse animals.
Of animals.
She said,
yes,
but what
that
did wasn't really that weird. At what point did I decide it was a good idea to watch this over dinner? It was somebody said that seeing it on the deal. So yeah, cooked her own meniscus bolognese. There you go. As we approach the lunch hour here on Light the Tower on the Horn 104.9, 101.9 AM 1260. We're live, local, and digital on the Horn app and hornfm.com. Second hour of Light the Tower on the Horn. Craig Way, Jeff Howe with you. Our producer Cameron Parker alongside as well. Glad to have you with us.
Hey, Craig, I found that story I was telling you about during the break about the Malaysian dude.
Oh, is that really?
We're coming up on the 20-year mark of that. That was July 13th, 2003 when the Associated Press reported that.
What is this?
I guess this could be, I start to say lopped. That'll be yours. Lumped.
That's a Freudian slip, sir.
Lumped into the category of cleanup from hour number one. From
Cam.
Inconceivable.
This happened back in 2003. This was a big Jim Rome thing he propped up. 34-year-old dude just got out of drug rehab, took some hallucinogenic pills, woke up hearing voices. The voices told him to lop off his unit. And then I'm going to give everybody 5 seconds to turn down your car radio or earmuffs or whatever. The voices also told him to prepare it and devour it, and he did. Didn't realize what he had done until apparently he told the cops he saw, according to the AP, saw blood oozing from his crotch.
Nope.
Please stop.
It's a short AP story, but no word on what happened to the dude thereafter. But yeah,
okay,
it's rough, man.
Other cleanup from our
probably the Malaysian pill form, like bath salts or something. I don't know. It's rough.
Other cleanup from hour number one. Bevo Lance Jason saying that, talking about the deal about the lady, taking the removed meniscus from her surgically repaired knee and then cooking it in a bolognese. He said that's in the realm of people cooking the placenta. I've heard of this after childbirth, as it's full of nutrients.
How does that work? I'm asking another. I'm just full of dumb questions today. How does that work?
Well, you would
cooking
ask
the placenta.
You would ask for it, and then you cook it.
Well, how do you prepare it, though?
Well, that one I can't help you with.
Okay.
But it says look it up. There were receipts online for it, but a complete hard pass for me. Yeah.
That was not done in the Way household when your children were brought into this world.
No, but I did see my cat licking up the placenta one time after giving kittens.
Jeez.
They do that,
Yeah.
They do that.
Yeah.
So I did see that once. Yeah, that happened. As Baker's Brisket Company says, thanks, losing my lunch now. Yeah. Elio says, I'm in the clear now since I bought my waffle maker at HEB. Good on you. Because we were talking about the waffleizer. If you own a waffleizer, it's probably going to be recalled 456,000 because it's apparently just spewing like hot magma.
Sounds like something a Spider-Man villain would own.
Yeah. It's like hot magma.
Like Doc Ock with the waffleizer.
What it is, waffleizer. Somebody said, there went my breakfast. Yeah. Shouldn't it not be goo if it's hot? It would be cooked, right? What if it's not cooking it properly all the way through and then it just starts spewing at you? So somebody says no milk, Craig. So what? Rod Babers doesn't drink milk either?
That I don't know. That I can't answer. I don't know. Okay. I just know I knew about Rod not eating vanilla ice cream. I know he doesn't like white condiments, and he's never eaten at a Waffle House.
Yeah. Somebody said, Jeff, why don't you surprise Charlotte one day by making her a grilled cheese in the waffle maker?
You know what? We had a panini press, and I think we got rid of it during one of the moves. And the wife and I are talking about, I think we're going to reinvest in a panini press.
Okay, there you go.
Make some damn good sandwiches.
Thank you.
I prefer to make a grilled cheese on either a cast iron, just the flat skillet, or the actual skillet.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Thanks to I couldn't think of the phrase. You're right. It's an oxymoron. Yeah. As we were saying earlier.
By the way, I did some steaks last week in the cast iron skillet.
Yeah.
Ooh. It's one of those deals where, I bought me some nice, New York strips from HEB, and it was one of those deals where I left it because I had it on kind of lowish heat, and then went to go I need to go do something for work, and then I'm in my office and I'm like, dude, what's burning? And I'm like, oh no! So I just destroyed. My wife had a great steak. Mine were charred. They looked a little thirsty.
Oh, okay.
When I was done with them.
So I had presented to me for dinner last night, not a bolognese with a meniscus. No. It was a smothered pork chops in brown gravy.
I love pork chops.
Yeah. And
were you being a gravy whore last night?
Oh, was I ever? I told her that too. She laughed about it. I said, yeah. I said, it's because of gravy like this. you know. So
do you own a gravy boat, Craig?
Yes.
Do you ever make one just randomly like, hey, why don't you get the gravy boat and fill that thing up? Some brown gravy.
You throw down some gravy there. I like all gravy.
Just randomly.
I bet you I like all gravy. I like cream gravy for chicken fried steak.
Brown
I like the giblet gravy for the
sausage
turkey.
gravy.
Yeah. I'm about all of that stuff.
You know who had good gravy? Leavenworth Cafe in Omaha had good gravy.
Oh yeah, it did. Yeah, and of course it did, but it closed down because they had the dish called the Robert E. Lee, which had a lot of gravy in it. By the way, that was a gravy thing. Mm-hmm. But they offered actually to take that off the menu, and then the people who were demanding change wanted more reparations and things of that nature. And then the owner said,
I don't care what side of the debate you're on there. That was one delicious meal. And I for one was not thrilled to go back to Omaha and have it not be an option.
Somebody asked me, what would be your last meal? You know, it might not be something with gravy. It might be what she made for me for breakfast yesterday, blueberry pancakes and link sausages. Might be that. I don't know.
What's like we're talking about Waffle House. What's like the best chain restaurant pancakes? Like, are you a big fan of like IHOP or, your chain breakfast places?
Well, it depends on how large a chain you're talking
like
about.
Kirby Lane is a chain.
They have a good pancake. Listen, Original Pancake House. There's only one location here in Austin. It's up on Palmer, and it's fabulous.
What does Cracker Barrel do to their pancakes that makes them taste so damn good?
Crack? No, I don't know.
It must be,
I don't know.
man.
It's good.
I don't know.
It's really good.
Yeah.
Whatever it is. Yeah. So there is that. CB, I knew this was coming. The giblet and giblet pronunciation is akin to the gif or gif. I say giblet and gif. Some say gif. Somebody, Beaver Lance Jason asking you, Jeff, did you go reverse steer method on those steaks?
I went beef jerky method on the steaks.
There you go. Ice Cream Maine says Craig has a pontoon gravy boat.
But I'm gonna get a do-over though. I just distracted myself. I just got to make sure I get my undivided attention to the skillet.
Here's a little tease. Now, Jeff may not have planned this, but even if he doesn't have something, and I know he will, but even if he doesn't, I'll have something to say about it in our Longhorn Notebook at the bottom of the hour. When the texter said, say, after all the threats of transfers or NBA draft, is the men's team back complete? We'll get to a little bit of that with men's basketball when we get to the bottom of the hour.
I got a couple nuggets.
Yeah, that's what I thought. I thought you would. Meanwhile, I want to go back to baseball with Texas winning its share of the regular season title. And again, for those who are wondering about this or kind of struggling about this and have asked us, why are there 3 trophies? What is the tiebreaker? The way that works, totally understand that. No problem with it. They play 24 games in a conference season. Next year, by the way, playing 30. 30. Final year of the Big 12 for Texas and Oklahoma next year. 13 teams will be fielding baseball teams, and they will play 10 of the other 12 on the schedule, 10 of the 12. And out of the 10 of the 12, you will play 30 conference games next year. But it's been 24 for several years. I would also submit to you that it's going to take some doing for a team winning percentage-wise to beat the 2010 Texas baseball team for best winning percentage ever in Big 12 play. They went 24-3 that year. It'd be difficult. I think they were 889, the winning percentage for that. But they're going to a 30-game schedule, so we'll see next year for the conference. But they play 24. Best winning percentage is the way that works out. The best winning percentage in conference play. And the reason that is an important differentiation is because of rainouts. And sometimes you just don't get all of your games played in a conference season. And so it's important to have winning percentage. And here's the example that I'm using for that this year. The example is Grand Canyon and Sam Houston went hammer and tong all the way down the stretch. And on the last weekend of the regular season, Sam Houston lost 2 out of 3 to Tarleton. Grand Canyon ended up sweeping its series, and by 1/2 game, Grand Canyon won the WAC, 22-7 to 22-8. Grand Canyon had a game rained out, and you can't make them up.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
So Texas won a Big 12 championship one year like that.
Was that the year the shortened game in Norman?
I think so. Yeah. Well, they ended up by a half game over Oklahoma. Went 19-7, and the Sooners went 19-8. The best example I've ever heard of that historically was told to me by none other than the great Bill Little, who was a student at UT at the time.
Mm-hmm.
And in 1961, I believe it was, they're playing Baylor, and they had a 1.5 game lead, I think. Baylor won the first game, and then they're in Waco, and the lead is down to a half game, or Baylor had actually taken a half game lead. Texas won game 2, and they went up by a half game. And there was supposed to be one more game played, but there was a Southwest Conference rule back then. You could not play during final exam period. So it had to get done like on a Saturday.
Mm-hmm.
And the old Farrell Field in Waco had no lights. And it was getting dark. And it was getting dark and too dark to play the game. They were supposed to do a doubleheader, I guess it was. And they were going to play this one more game, except it got too dark. And so Texas is walking off the field because they know they've got the Southwest Conference title. And the old Baylor coach went going, and they said, let's go down the road to the Dutton Street Park because it's got lights. And there was no rule that said they had to do that. So Texas was like, no, we're not doing that. And so they were all upset about it. And a young reporter for the Daily Texan went up to Bib Falk and said, Coach, you blah, blah, blah. And he said, no, it's over. We won. He said, well, Coach so-and-so, Baylor said that you could go down to the Dutton Street Park and play, and they had lights down there. Are you gonna do that? He said, nope. I'm gonna bleep, and then I'm gonna go home. Now, that young reporter did not write that in the Daily Texan. What he wrote was, I'm going to eat, and then I'm going to go home.
I don't know
That's
why that
not what he
me
said.
So much.
I'm going to bleep, and then I'm going to go home. That's Bib Falk. That young reporter's name was Harvey Little, the older brother of Bill Little. And now you know the rest of the story. Texas won it by 1/2 game.
Can I sign off from the show that way from now on? I'm going to bleep, and then I'm going to
go home. Yeah. So anyway, that's why it's important to play the full schedule. But for those who didn't know, the way that whole schedule worked, they played 24 games. Texas went 15-9 because they swept West Virginia. West Virginia went 15-9, and Oklahoma State went 15-9. So they are all considered conference champions. All 3 schools get a trophy as Big 12 conference champions. The tournament is a separate thing. It's a conference tournament. It's a separate trophy for it. I always thought that the conference championship trophy tournament, I liked it better than the conference regular season trophy.
I like the regular season better.
It looks like a toilet seat.
The big bowl. Yeah. No, I like
it looks
that.
like you could pull a Bib Falk on that deal, right? In that deal. It looks like a toilet seat.
I just like, for some reason, the image of like, it seemed like a couple years when Oklahoma won it, they won it and they went to the Orange Bowl, and just filling that thing with oranges, just that imagery. I just thought that was pretty cool.
It's just Kansas lining them all up at Allen Fieldhouse of basketball. It just looks like there's one long barracks of toilet seats there. But the conference tournament trophy, now that's pretty cool. It kind of looks like Superman's Fortress of Solitude, where you put the ice crystals in that.
That before.
Yeah, that's pretty cool. But anyway, it's a separate event than the regular season. So there's 2 separate trophies. And so you play for a conference tournament. So how do you determine the seeding when 3 teams tie? How did they do against one another? Well, they went round robin. Texas lost to Oklahoma State, but as we know, they just swept West Virginia. Oklahoma State beat Texas, but lost to West Virginia. West Virginia beat Oklahoma State, but lost to Texas. So all that's even. The next thing is, what was your record in the head-to-head against the other 2? Texas went 4-2 because of the sweep. Oklahoma State went 3-3. West Virginia went 2-4. That's why Texas is seeded first. That's why Oklahoma State is seeded second. That's why West Virginia is seeded third. It's as simple as that. Now, to the players who are a big part of this for Texas, that in conclude on what I accidentally X'd out of my my list that I sent to Cam. I've got it now. All right. So here's some of the thoughts. We talked about the what the Longhorns went in the last hour. We got a chance to hear from Garrett Gilmet and Eric Kennedy and Jack O'Dowd. This was Dylan Campbell with Roger Wallace down on the field after the game.
Fun, another celebration here. Another celebration today.
Oh yeah, it was great. We knew it was at stake coming into it. I'm just proud of the guys, proud of the team, just to show what we're made of, and knowing what's at stake and being able to come through is just huge for us.
First innings were big. Thursday night, you get the bunt to load the bases, and then a couple of rocket doubles. How locked in were you in this team early on in these games?
I mean, that was just a great amount of focus, and we showed it in the first inning. Just coming out strong, trying to make a statement early, and just show them that we're ready to play. And we knew, they were a good team. We knew that, but we know whenever we're playing our game that we can't be beat.
I saw Coach gather you guys right after the win last night and have a quick chat. I saw you talking to the guys before this one. What was the message going in, knowing what was at stake?
Just to treat it like another game, honestly, because if you treat it like anything else, then it's going to kind of come back to bite you. So we just came into it like it was another Sunday game and, came out with a victory. So it was good.
You not only have this hit streak record, but you've done it in huge games in the second half of a season where you now have a Big 12 regular season championship. How satisfying is that for you to be able to deliver night in and night out?
I think it just goes to the focus about winning. And if you're trying to win, then, the team comes together as a whole, and anybody can come out and be hot at any time. So, I feel like if we just focus on winning, then everybody's going to have success, and they want to be in the moment, then it's going to be huge for them.
You had a lot of holes to fill from last year's club that ended up in Omaha. You and EK and Mitch, three, Lucas, guys like that. How big was it to see these young guys or transfers come in, mesh, develop, and be part of another team that a couple of guys have told me, people thought this might be a rebuilding season for Texas?
It's huge just seeing young guys out there on the field each and every day, like JT and Jalen, and Jaden was in there today. But, it's huge. They're stepping up, and they really haven't experienced an atmosphere like this, but being a part of it in the lineup. So, it's huge for this year and this season, but also for the future of the program, for those guys being here the next 2 years after this. They got some great experience, and, they're just going to keep getting better and keep growing.
Dylan Campbell, 33-game hitting streak, 39 consecutive games reaching base safely. And quietly, by the way, Jared Thomas has a 10-game hitting streak and has reached base in 25 consecutive games. I say quietly because so much attention obviously focused on the hitting streak for Dylan Campbell. But there it is for that. There was also the motivation, as I mentioned, with regard to this team about what happened. And it apparently rolls back to the first game of the doubleheader against San Jose State. Longhorns let that lead get away in the eighth inning. They ended up losing 6-4. Lucas Gordon referenced that as part of his conversation with Roger Wallace.
Tone setter for you, Lucas, and then you just become the biggest cheerleader. What was, first of all, your night like on Thursday, and then to watch your guys go do their thing the last two games?
So, like you said, my job is to set the tone and then become a cheerleader. So try to become the best cheerleader I can, kind of give them some pointers on how to throw to some guys, some things I see, and watch them do their thing.
And to watch your offense started with your start, got the quick runs, and then just kept rolling through. How big was that to watch your offense go to work?
Well, I think we really grew this series, and to watch them not give away one AB and just to compete and grind the whole time was really special.
What's it been like to watch Tanner's comeback and to see his outing today and to see his progress, knowing what he's had to go through the last 14 months?
Well, you guys know that's my boy. I've known him since I was 14 years old, so kind of to be there. He's been there through my downs, and to be there through his surgery and his not so fun part of life was it's very special, and it's special to watch him come back and do what he's doing.
Right on. See you in Arlington.
See you in Arlington.
Yeah, Tanner Witt will be in Arlington, too. The aforementioned Tanner Witt, who went 3 scoreless innings, 44 pitches, and did not allow a run, 1 hit, 1 walk, and Tanner on his road back as he visited with Roger.
Yeah, Craig was going through some of the early highlights, how big, first of all, was it to see your offense put that 4 on the board in the bottom of the first.
You know, they were big all weekend, and I know it was huge for me to see that in the first inning. You know, a lot of pitchers don't like to wait around in between innings, but if they're going to keep scoring, I'll wait all day. So it was huge for us. It was awesome.
Tell me what it's been like, the news way back after Alabama and the rehab, and then knowing that you're going to have to be very limited but get back in Fort Worth. What has this ride been like for you?
It's a roller coaster. That's the best I can describe it. There's ups, there's downs, but, you know, my teammates were with me the whole way through it. My coaches were with me the whole way through it, which helps so much. I don't think they realize how much of a difference they make. So it was a roller coaster, but we're getting going up the top, so we're going to keep it rolling up there.
You know, watching you every game when you knew you weren't going to play for a while and you were there cheerleading with the best of them, do you think your quality helps you get through moments like this? You didn't seem to be too down, at least not outwardly.
No, absolutely. You know, I think from a young age, my parents did a really good job of having me always look for the good in things. So when I went down, I was always trying to look for the good. And, you know, I got to watch a pretty cool season last year. You know, a lot of history. I got to watch, you know, arguably the best college baseball season ever. So, I mean, that was awesome for me. Just finding little victories, small victories throughout the whole process. And I think that was huge for me.
Tell me what it's like from start to start. This was your 4th. What do you feel during the week, and do you feel things progressing each week?
Yeah, I mean, it's a roller coaster, like I said. There's ups, there's downs. Some days I wake up, feel great. Some days not as great. So you got to listen to the arm. And the coaches and the training staff here have been huge with that. They understand that the health is the most important thing. Well, you know, I'm trying to stay healthy and give the team the best chance to win. So it's a mixture of both, and it's been a great mixture.
To give them 3 shutout innings in a championship game, winner take all, as far as you guys are concerned, there's got to be some satisfaction there.
No, I mean, obviously the team came up huge. You know, we knew what was at stake this weekend, and we answered. With everything that's happened this season, we've answered. We always say the biggest strength of our team is the team itself, and I think you saw it this weekend.
Yeah, for sure. Like I said, the guys referred to that loss at San Jose against San Jose State. Garrett Gilmet talked about it. Eric Kennedy, he said it didn't sit well with us. And that made me think about something else. In between games of that doubleheader, I went down to the clubhouse to do a pregame interview with David Pierce before game 2. And we get to talk, and this was all recorded. It aired. And I asked him, you have a little more time in between game 1 and game 2 of this doubleheader than you normally have when it's just 45 minutes between, because this was a rain-anticipated, constructed doubleheader. So there was a little more time. There was about an hour and a half. And I asked him, does that call for some more conversation? Do you approach it differently? And he looked me plain and simple in the eye, and he said, they've got to figure that out. They have to figure that out. There's things, and lo and behold, if they didn't go and do it, they kind of figured it out in the clubhouse. Now, that's players taking control of the team. That's also coaching, understanding when the guys have to figure out some things, and you give them the tools, and then they go and figure it out. So that came to my mind when all that. And speaking of David Pierce, the conversation he had with Roger.
Well, Wednesday you said you can't sweep without winning the first one, then the second one, then the third one. Just the emotion of what you guys pulled off this weekend.
It was unbelievable. I mean, that's a dang good team, a really good team, coming in here with a lot of confidence. And, you know, a lot of people, you know, even kind of question things we do, and, you know, getting swept by OU and then going, I think, 10-3 after that, and some just tough environments on the road. And then, you know, I'm just so proud of our team, and just they never listened to the distractions, never gave in, and they just played so hard for each other. I mean, we kind of went from the impossible to the improbable to the champions, and that's a great feeling for our team.
What's it say for your guys? 3 straight games, right out of the gates, you jump on their pitching and really put the pressure on them.
Our guys work, and their prep, not only with their swings and their work defensively, but studying video and understanding what we're going to face. And I think they're growing. I mean, and they're confident right now. That lineup that we're putting out there right now is very confident and kind of do a great job of passing the bat and each guy doing their job. I mean, we did a really good job early in the short game and then a big hit. And just I'm kind of lost of words right now. I'm just really just thrilled to be the coach to these guys and to be a part of this and just so proud of them.
To look at the progress of so many of these guys from Arlington, a kid like Jared Thomas. I mean, you guys told us how good he could be. Took some lumps early on. He's going to hit 340 going into the Big 12 tournament.
Yeah, he's something, and he's just continued to grow and continue to learn from older guys and stay within himself and learn himself. Just a very determined young man, and you see the same thing with Flo. I mean, Jalen had a good series, and he's growing a little later than JT, but he's growing, and I think it's a lot to do with our leadership in the clubhouse as well, where they take them under their wing and understand this is the culture and this is how we work, and it paid off. It paid off.
And then your bullpen grinded it out.
That's right. And I talked to Kobe, and that's a tough one because he was put in a tough situation, and it wasn't because he walked the guy. He just had a lot of big misses, and it just needed to happen right then. He's got to just grow from that and be ready to bounce back because we're going to need him in the tournament. But Zane does a nice job of getting 4 outs, and then Charlie coming in and really wanted the baseball and made some pitches there with the sinker to get the double play, and just heck of a job. I mean, it's not always easy. It's never easy. We face a lot of adversity. We face some really tough competition, but they never back down. And now they're the number 1 seed and they're champions of the Big 12.
Yeah, and your guy Tanner with the progression he made, and what a game for his best command.
Yeah, no doubt. 3 shutout, and then we got 2 out of Shaw. And Travis wasn't as sharp, but he got us through and got us to the next guy.
Appreciate it, David. Congratulations.
Thanks a lot, Raj.
So there it is. Hearing from players and from the head coach. They have a workout this morning, and then they're on their way to Arlington this afternoon. All the teams headed up to Arlington. They will have team practices tomorrow on the field at Globe Life Field, and the tournament begins Wednesday morning at 9 o'clock. I'll be up there. Jeff will be up there a little later in the week. I'll be up there tomorrow with my side of the show, and Jeff will be here with his side of the show, so we'll have that for you tomorrow. Up next, we'll have a Flex 30 update and a Longhorn Notebook when we continue with Light the Tower on the Horn, 104.9, 101.9, AM 1260. We're live, local, and digital on the Horn app and at hornfm.com. As we get on into these warmer months, it might be more difficult if you're carrying more weight for yourself than you hoped or planned on doing it, fellas. And for that, our friends at Total Men's Primary Care can help you with weight loss that is personalized to your biology. We're talking about more than just a diet. Weight loss itself can be challenging, and that's why our friends at Total Men's can offer you every tool you need to succeed. They'll build a plan that's fully customized to suit your body and your goals. There's FDA-approved medications. There's a program that will work for you. You want to know if medical weight loss is right for you? You can schedule a visit, and their team will sit down with you to assess the current state of your health and discuss your options. Go to TotalMens.com, click on the yellow button where it says Book an Appointment, and then you can set up the appointment for any of their more than 20 Greater Austin area locations, and in most cases be seen that very same day. It's Total Men's Primary Care, the doctor's office just for men. for the person on the Specs text line who asked, why did David call Roger Rice? Is it his hair? No, he did not call him Rice. He called him Raj. Thanks, Raj. Thanks, Rice. Thanks. It's like, was it? I was telling you, Jerry Finkbeiner, the basketball women's coach at Oral Roberts. Gray. I had another deal like that years ago when I was working at KRLD when we used to really get mailed out press releases to you in the pre-internet days. I had a deal that come to me, and by then I can't remember if Brad Cham was still there or not. Yeah, it was for Brad. It was a piece of mail, and it said it was made out to Fred Shaw. Well, who's Fred Shaw? We don't know Fred Shaw. Somebody went from Brad Cham to Fred Shaw. That's where it was. So
quite the jump.
Yeah. So anyway, no, he didn't call him Rice. He called him Raj.
Did you call him Fred from now on after that?
I should have. Absolutely. That's fine. Okay. Let's get a Flex 30 update here. And then the number of area teams dwindled. And that includes in baseball, because you got a chance to see and call a spirited turnaround and comeback for the Westlake Chaparrals against the Round Rock Dragons over the weekend.
Yeah, there's two matchups featuring 4 Centex teams, and unfortunately that means Cedar Park and Round Rock no longer playing in the playoffs for Westlake, and Round Rock, a great series, Craig. 2 top 10 teams. It was a shame that these two teams met so early in the playoffs, considering they're probably worthy of going to state. But Round Rock won the first game on a walk-off by Hudson Ellis after Travis Sikora pitched an absolute gem. His last start for Round Rock was possibly one of the best against a really good Westlake lineup. But the Shaps pitching came through in Game 2 and Game 3. Nathan Duvall had some incredible stuff. Jack Brady went a complete 7 games, and looking at the box score, Round Rock had the same number of hits as Westlake did in both games 2 and 3, but just couldn't score any runs. And then at the end of the day, Westlake just didn't make as many mistakes. So congrats to the Shaps. They continue on. I believe they're playing. Let me double check this. I believe they're playing Eagle Pass, who swept O'Connor. So that'll be a fun series for Westlake and for Round Rock up. Yeah, and just incredible season for Coach Carter, winning a district championship, 14-0, and unfortunately their season comes to an end.
As it did for Lake Travis.
Yes.
Dropping games 2 and 3 against Johnson.
Yeah, kind of like Round Rock. They won Game 1, but overall, I mean, Johnson, their lineup is just absolutely loaded. They're a top 10 ranked team in the state, and they'll probably face Westlake, I'm guessing, in the region finals after next week if both teams advance. That will be fun because San Antonio Johnson may have the best lineup 1-9 out of out of their region, but we'll see for them. And then Cedar Park and Rouse. Talked to the Rouse coaches. Actually, they were there on Saturday's Game 3. They went. Didn't start Colin Correo. He actually came out of the bullpen, but got the win. A real back and forth game. Rouse came back and took the lead in the 6th inning and didn't look back. So a huge upset victory for Rouse, who lost both their games at Cedar Park in the district season.
Georgetown had its season brought to a conclusion as well. So the defending state champs knocked out. And I didn't see Taylor. Did it?
Number 10, Taylor Sweet, baby.
How about
Taylor
that?
Ducks, yeah.
How about the Ducks?
For Georgetown, Craig, Coach Vieira, just a really young team. They won state last year, of course, a really young team, a good season, but they're a program that in the next couple of years, they're going to be back to where they were last year.
All right. So in baseball, obviously we're keeping an eye on Westlake and Taylor and Rouse at this point. Yeah. So
yeah.
All right. There it is. There's your Flex 30 update. Let's move right forward into our Longhorn Notebook.
Craig, let's go to college basketball. We got asked about the portal earlier. 2 guys that we can talk about now as far as targets for Texas. I think it's easier to talk about Cam Spencer from Rutgers, who is a graduate transfer. He's Texas. We've heard Rodney Terry say when he's been asked about what do they want to add, and I don't think it's just lip service. I think this is really what they're looking to add. Guard play. They really want to shore up their backcourt. Cam Spencer, you got a 6'4", 200-plus pound guard, shoots it really well, averaged a little over 13 points a game for Rutgers this past season, shot over 43% from three-point range. He's a 40+% career three-point shooter. Started out at Loyola, Maryland. Loyola, Maryland, played at Rutgers last season, so he's a grad transfer. He's got 1 year left. He's a guy that Texas is very interested in. It's easy, like I said, it's easier to talk about Cam Spencer than the other guy. The other guy's Caleb Love from North Carolina. So this could be, Michigan's loss, could be Texas' gain. The interesting thing with Caleb Love, he was all set to go to Michigan. This is 2 off seasons in a row, by the way. This has happened to Michigan. It happened to him last year with TJ Shannon, transfer from Texas Tech. He was going to go to Michigan, and then he ended up going to Illinois because there was an admissions issue. The same deal happened with Caleb Love, all set to go to Michigan, and then there was an admissions deal. So he's back on the market now. There's a real chance he ends up at Texas. The thing with Caleb Love, extremely productive player. Craig, I know you pay attention to a lot of ACC basketball. Yep. Extremely productive player for Hubert Davis at North Carolina. This past season, 16.7 points per game, 3.7 rebounds, 2.8 assists.
What did his shooting percentage wind up at?
That's the thing that I'm wondering how it's gonna mesh with. If you look at the guys that Texas would have in the backcourt with Max Abmas, with Tyrese Hunter, Kendall Weaver playing a kind of a backup role, and I think looking into the 2024-25 season, him taking on a bigger role. How would it work? But Caleb Love, 29.9% from three.
Yeah, he went through a massive slump, as did all the Tar Heels during that big slump that they had.
Yeah.
And everybody kept looking to him, and he was missing a lot of shots.
But the year before,
yeah,
it's 36% from three.
That's why I think it's important to look at the full body of work there.
Yeah. So you look at his career. He's career numbers are going to show he's a 31 and 31.7, so basically 32% three-point shooter. If he can get that right, if he can be closer to what he was in that 21-22 season as opposed to last year, then not only do you have a really productive guy, but if you get a productive guy who's an efficient shooter, now you're talking about, does Texas have the best backcourt in the country at that point? Because, find me 3 better guards than Caleb Love, Max Abmas, and Tyrese Hunter.
You might be hard-pressed.
Very hard-pressed to find 3 better guards. So I think Craig at that point is probably definitely the best backcourt in the Big 12 at that point. Now, I haven't looked all up and down at what everybody's going to return, and I know there's been some transfers, but that's why adding Caleb Love, it's a very intriguing, the potential there, let me say that, the potential there for that addition is extremely intriguing. I also think when you talk about adding another front court piece with some versatility, the name, I brought it up on the show last week, and we'll see if he stays in the draft. It sounds like he's more likely to go back to school than stay in the draft. But Arthur Kaluma from Creighton is one of those guys that, man, if you could get him, I love him in that Timmy Allen role. But those are really kind of the 3 guys at this point. I think Arthur Kaluma, depending on what he does, Caleb Love, and Cam Spencer from Rutgers. I think those are the 3 guys right now for Texas that, if you're looking at how is Rodney Terry going to fill this out, I think any combination of those 3, the staff would give it 2 big thumbs up and roll on into RT's first full season as the head coach, feeling really good about what they've got.
All right, there it is, our Flex 30 update, followed by our Longhorn Notebook. Jeff and I will be back to wrap up today's edition of Light the Tower on the Horn, 104.9, 101.9, AM 1260. We're live, local, and digital on the Horn app and at hornfm.com.
No matter what you're watching on TV right now, ask yourself if you're watching it in the best possible way. And if you're not, make sure you get in touch with Tom McKay and the folks at Audio Visual Consultations. Give them a call right now, 512-255-8678, 255-8678. You need to make that call right now to make sure you've got your home entertainment set up, done the way you want it in time for football season. AV Consultations keeps the latest smart TVs, and Sonos audio in stock. And if they don't have it on hand, Tom McKay is one phone call away from getting whatever your heart desires. So just let them take care of everything. You don't have to worry about mounting hardware or knocking holes in your wall or any of that stuff. They do a great, clean, professional setup. And trust me, when they've been to your house like they've been to mine, everybody will walk in knowing you got your home entertainment system set up by AV Consultations. I'm watching everything in my house on the 75-inch LG TV with the Sonos sound system. That's what you can have in your house. Or maybe you need something a little bit smaller. It's no problem. They can handle that. Or if you want to watch the NFL, college football in style this fall, on a full tilt home theater experience with a 150-inch screen, I know AV Consultations would love to make that happen for you. Just give them a call right now, 512-255-8678. That's 255-8678. Call right now and let Tom McKay and Audio Visual Consultations help you realize the home entertainment setup of your dreams.
Okay, done for the day. And thus the busy week begins. Jeff and I will both be on tomorrow. Jeff will be here in the ARN compound. I'll be in the Texas Rangers compound. That's Globe Life Field.
I won't be on Wednesday because I'll be en route to the ballpark.
Yeah. So a lot of stuff will shift to that. And I know a lot of folks are asking about the possibility of hosting a regional. Their chances have ratcheted up considerably, but they're not quite there yet. We'll talk more about that as the week goes forward as well. We invite you to stay tuned now. Chad and Zay are coming up next for our man behind the glass, a producer, Cam Parker. And for my co-host, Jeff Howe, I'm Craig Way. Thanks for joining us. We'll visit with you tomorrow morning, 10 o'clock, right here on Light the Tower.